cinema, after cinema, after cinema reviews.
What is up, guys? Welcome to Boomer Base. Today I'm here to talk about a new film that I recently saw at the cinema called Anatomy of a Fall. Now, I did go see this with Maddie, but she didn't particularly enjoy it and didn't want to come do a video, which is always fine. So I thought I'd come talk about the film itself, as I quite enjoyed it. So, Anatomy of a Fall, if you've never heard about it or haven't heard about it, is a sort of French film that's come out. Well, actually, it's not even out yet, to be fair. Through watching, or from going to the Odeon to see the Screen Unseen, this was the film this gone week that was the Screen Unseen film, so I've got to see it early. Anatomy of a Fall is a film about a woman who is suspected of her husband's murder, and their blind son faces a moral dilemma as the sole witness. So it's a very, very cool film. Now, it's a film by Justine Triet, who seems to be a French director. I have never seen any of her films before, although when I say films, there's about 4 or 5. I haven't seen any of them before. So I can't really say anything about how good of a director or anything she is. I very much like this film. Now, to start off, there will be spoilers in this film review, so if you don't want to know anything about the film itself, I would say come back after you've watched it, or if you're just wanting to know whether you would like it or not, then maybe stick around if you're fine with spoilers. If not, thank you for tuning in this far. But no, let's crack into it. So, within this film, I don't know any of the actors within it. They're all fresh off the press for me, for having never seen them before, so I really appreciate that. I like being able to see different people in cinema and not necessarily see the same, it's Margot Robbie's or Timothée Chalamet's 4th film this year. Like, I like to see some, diversity for actual actors and actresses and things, so it was nice that I didn't know anyone in this film. Now, on paper, Anatomy of a Fall pretty much sounds like a film that you might have seen before. A person, this being the husband, dies under suspicious circumstances, and the wife becomes the main suspect. And then throughout the film, you're sort of kept guessing if, in fact, they are the killer or not. This sort of premise and story has been, explored multiple times within very different sort of books, films, TV shows and things. So it's not a new thing, but something that helps separate it from the rest is the sort of rural France setting, the use of English and French dialogue throughout the film, which is important because the wife is an immigrant, so she doesn't speak very great French. She speaks decent English, but the trial is all done in French. Whenever it comes to a TV show, film, or book where it's exploring whether or not someone has killed their partner, we don't normally have it where the main character is the central suspect. The wife, who I need to flip and look at what her name was, Sandra. She's the main centre character. We have Sandra, the wife. We have Samuel, who is the husband. We have I don't know how to pronounce his name, Maitre, who is the sort of lawyer, and then we have Marge, who is someone that helps out Daniel, and then Daniel, who is the son. They are the sort of main contenders. We also have a avocat general, someone in the court essentially, but it's very unique. Although Maddie didn't like the film, as she thought it was a bit too long and a bit boring and not much happened, what I liked from someone that really likes films and things was that, some of the camera work was very cool and unique. Not everything was amazing. There wasn't a crazy amount of score, but what I did like is that it felt like how a trial and a murder case goes. It's very uncomfortable, it's long, not much happens, and then you start finding out more stuff, in which this further adds to, is this person the murderer? Is this not person the murderer? The main actress, Sandra Hüller, who plays Sandra in the film, she does very, very well. I'm very, very happy to have seen her in such a film, and will definitely want to explore other films that she is in as a protagonist. She is quite interesting. She's very cold, but also loving at the same time, and she displays a range of emotions, which, she is a unfaithful sort of partner, and she's very high caliber in her thought process and things, and doesn't take much responsibility for some of her actions. But this all further adds to the plot of unknowing whether she is or is not the murderer. You know, I like that it's, well, essentially when we see the marriage on screen, it's nice to see something where it's not just lovey-dovey or just straight to abuse and stuff. There's, in this film, we have a marriage that's essentially loveless but also cold. There's resentfulness within it, but there's dutifulness within the film as well, and responsibility and things. And it's nice to see. It's nice to see an element where the main person to help try prove that Sandra is innocent is a blind child who is the child of not only the person murdered but the person in question. It's a very unique situation, especially with being blind. He has memories that he has to think upon, in which he doesn't see those. He has to remember the feelings, the smells and things, and with such a shock and such a big thing that's happened, it's very hard for him to remember what is real and what wasn't real. Now, this goes into very big spoiler territory for about the film, but it's semi-evident that it's a suicide from things we start to slowly learn. We start to see more of the private world of Sandra and Samuel as we sort of get to the court bit, which is very cool, seeing like a French court. I won't lie to you, and it's, essentially think that Sandra murdered Samuel, or Samuel. I don't even know how to pronounce his name now. I'm just going to keep calling him Samuel. Now it's very hit and miss, as Daniel decides and comes to the conclusion that his mum was not the killer, but in some retrospect, metaphorically, Sandra did and had been killing Samuel for many years, by being successful in the book that she took bits of his book to do, by expressing her sexual drive with people that weren't her husband and that her husband could not satisfy. She essentially became her own person in her own house that was separate from the family and with Daniel. It's a very hard watch in some ways, as Sandra is somewhat a very, very unlikable character, but there are bits where you kind of do like her. Now, one of the big things in this film is trying to prove that she's innocent, but Sandra is very big on that she is innocent, but her lawyer friend says a fair few times in the film that being innocent isn't enough. How do we prove that you're innocent, essentially? Which comes down to a lot of the intricacies of, going through like a courtroom and trying to convince the jurors that the person isn't guilty or is guilty. And that's part and parcel of their role. I like that, for me, Sandra is essentially blameless from all aspects. I like that in one instance, like there's a subjective and an objectiveness with Sandra for what went down with Samuel. She did some very horrible things after the accident, essentially when Daniel became visually impaired quite badly, or that she blamed the husband for it, even though he wasn't there when it happened. He should have gone to pick up Samuel, but a babysitter went and picked him up, and then that happened during that time. Samuel is a character who you try like throughout the film, but there's elements that are hard. He's just lost, and I think that's what lies more to him upping and killing himself. Which, although the film concludes and he has killed himself, there is still that eeriness of sort of maybe she did kill him, but we won't ever fully know. I do like the ambiguousness of the ending of the film. You know, the way Daniel comforted his mum in the end seemed very like, what's his name? The sex man. I don't know, the Oedipal, I think that's the word. Oedipal, I don't know. The one where it just seems a bit odd, where like the son is comforting the mother in a weird sort of almost semi-sexual way, but not. I don't know. It was very odd, and it lasted a very long time. You know, it was I don't know. It was hard to explain. I can't really get my words out. I don't really know. I did like that Daniel wasn't just sort of a throwaway character or didn't seem very smart. He definitely was a very intelligent young boy. He kept asking, we should ask why this happened. He provoked the audience and the people within the film to think about, certain things a bit more, rather than, is it a straight up he killed, or she killed him, or he killed himself. And there was a lot of stuff to do with how Sandra sort of expressed herself in her books and things, and that led to sort of being semi-evidence and things, and it was, I don't know, it was just a very cool film. Like, it's a quite a unique and sort of good take on marriage. Pardon me. It's not something that I would go out of my way to keep re-watching loads. It's something that I would enjoy re-watching again in like a year or so time, and it's something that grew on me. Like, being in a cinema seat is very uncomfortable anyway, so I don't think that helped. But I was never bored. I was just wanting to find out if he killed himself or if she killed him, whilst also succumbing to new truths and new lies within the film. It was very unique. It was something that, whenever I go to screen unscenes, I'm always worried that I'm going to see a film that, I don't, that so far I've been to it twice now, and both times I've been to see a film that I've not even seen a trailer for, not heard of, no nothing. And it always kind of worries me because I'll never know until I sit down and the film starts. But again, I was very surprised, very happy with what I saw. There was a good dog in the film that thankfully didn't die. He nearly did die at some point, and I was sat in sheer shock and horror and nearly tears because I was like, oh my god. But the dog, I found out, won an award. Like, the dog was pretending to be like unconscious / dead, and then it even threw up on screen, which I know is a very like odd thing, but like, wow, the dog was so fucking like good at acting randomly. It was, very cool. I do think, as I've said earlier, that I think this film is for more film goers and film viewers that are wanting to explore more. When I say the word quote good films, like, this is not for a general audience film. But yeah, I had a lot of enjoyment for this film and a lot of time and patience for it, and I think that everyone should at least give this film a go. It's very unique, and I liked that. But if you've managed to make it to this part of the video through my near 14 minutes of rambling, thank you very much. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and then tune in for the next time I talk some ramblings about a film. Take care now. Hey, thank you for watching the video. Click the button to keep watching, or click the other video for more videos, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.